deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died?
Joan Baez is a cultural icon whose music reflects her beliefs and passions. From her friendship with Martin Luther King Jr. and political activism focusing on human rights and equality, Joan has been a consistent voice for all those who love peace. I'm Glenn Shepard. I caught up with Joan Baez on her 50th anniversary tour to speak with her about peace, inspiration, and effecting positive change in the world. Miss Baez, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm delighted to have you interviewing me.
What can a young person like me do to set a good example for my generation?
Well, to start with, you're doing it. You know, I think it's difficult for young people in these times to find some kind of meaning in their lives. I may talk to younger kids on the phone a lot. I don't like to talk to grown-ups, but I will talk to younger kids, and some of them are just really lonesome for somebody who shares their beliefs and their ideas, and so it is easier to work with more than one person. But all I would say is you're on the right track.
With so much negativity in the world, how can young people stay inspired to create positive change?
Just about anything, but starting with getting battery charged. You know, I used to say that in school a lot of the stuff might be not worthwhile at all, but there's always a teacher or two who really respect and who really motivate you. And I know that meant a lot to me when I was 13 and 14 years old. Then I was lucky enough to have a family who had become Quaker when I was very young, and the Quakers take very seriously that you put people over the nation state. So that's a big one to swallow right off the bat.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for just about everything. And that song I sing in Spanish, Gracias a la vida, is really thanking for everything, the good and the bad, just because we're here. We're lucky enough to be here, and we're lucky enough to be, you know, in a place where most of us eat 3 meals a day or 2. And when you look around the world, as you mentioned earlier, there is such tremendous suffering that, you know, also I'm grateful that Obama got in.
People have really seemed to respond to his message.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know many people, and they're not in my circle of friends for the most part, who were voting for McCain. No, I think that Obama just offers a change of political atmosphere. He offers, I think, an insight into compassion and learning how to share again, and having discourse with people that, you know, lesser intelligent members of the administration would think you bomb them first rather than have a conversation. It's all very new. It really is new, and I am beyond thrilled with it.
Who have you met that has been an inspiration?
Well, I think that would be Dr. King. I met him when I was so young. I was 16, and he was only something like 29 years old. I heard him speak, and it's kind of solidified all the thoughts that I'd had about nonviolence, about my own life, trying to live it in a way that might be unconventional, but really try to include everybody in it and believed in this, you know, the sanctity of life. And he did, against all odds, you know, including the whites and eventually the blacks, but he stuck to it, and he would get his inspiration and kind of directions even from prayer. I mean, he just sit there, and the same as Gandhi did, he'd wait to hear the still small voice within, is what it's called.
How did you get started in the peace movement?
Well, the very first action that I did, in nonviolent action, when I was 16, and I was in high school, and we were decided by the city fathers that we would have an air raid drill. And we were all supposed to leave school and go home and not question anything, I assume. And my father was a physicist, so I went to him and I said, how long would it take a missile to get from Moscow to Palo Alto High School? And whatever it was, I know that it was shorter than the time that we had. We didn't have enough time to get home or sit in the cellar and eat survival biscuits or whatever it was. So I stayed in school. and it just wreaked havoc. I mean, the principal and the vice principal and the secretaries, everybody was, didn't understand it. So I talked to them. I tried to explain to them what I was doing. There was to bring attention to the fact that we can't solve our problems the way we were trying to solve our problems. So actually it was sort of fun. The day after that, it was all written about in a daily paper. And the day after that, there were all these letters from the parents of the kids. They were afraid for their kids because they said I was a communist, and all hell really broke loose. But that was a good way for me to do my first action, because I knew it to my bones that it was the right thing to do. So I did it.
Yes. What have we learned from the 60s peace movement that we can apply today?
Well, first of all, I think people have to take some of what we did in the 60s and then realize that it's no longer the 60s, and that whatever we come up with has to be suited to now. And so it isn't just a nostalgic grasping at what we had back then. I think that it's been a long time since there was really not that much to work with. I mean, there was, from my point of view, the Reagan years were years that we went backwards. And then we really did turn into a society of greed. I mean, that's why the economy is doing what it's doing, is people are just greedy and take everything they can and unbalance everything. And mind you, I don't really understand it, but I do know that much. That when a corporation goes down, that the corporate heads walk off with billions of dollars, and everybody else doesn't have any. They don't get anything.
Can you tell us about your new album?
Sure. The new album has more a sense of me to it than anything I've done in a long time. And what we try to do with it, since this is the 50th year of my singing career, is make it kind of a bookend to the very beginning. So wanted to make the feeling similar in some way to the beginning, and sort of in its simplicity and ballad sound, and Steve Earle's into the same thing I am. And so we did, I think, pretty successfully make a bookend, meaning that people will feel similar feelings to when I first started, but it all has to be contemporary. And so that's what we did.
Do you have a favorite album you've enjoyed working on?
I guess I can't answer that. There are too many. There are too many. I know that when you ask that question, it's Diamonds and Rust, that I learned how to work a synthesizer. We had a synthesizer there, and everybody's trying to put these notes in, and I realized that I heard the notes, and I knew just enough about how to play that I could do it.
What are you listening to these days?
I listen to, there's an opera singer named U.C. Bjorling. It's Bjorling. He's a tenor, and he moves me more than any other singer. And then I listen to, who did I have on the other day? Whenever somebody asked me that, I can't remember. Oh, Gnarls Barkley.
Ooh.
Yeah, wonderful, isn't he?
Yes.
Some of Ray Charles, and on the bus we listened to just about everything. I was listening for about an hour and a half the other night to Ella Fitzgerald and Satchmo. So
sounds like my kind of music.
Gnarls Barkley.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
I love his music. Thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.